Hello everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy, time to go, Morty.
So for the final episode of this year's TV Sweeps Weeks for Fall and Winter, I want to discuss animation, because this grouping of shows is definitely the largest that I have based on everything that I have reviewed so far for television, and we're going to be tackling everything that is being streamed, that is on cable, that is on network television, what have you, because there's so many awesome things that I want to talk about with you guys. The first animated show that I want to talk about is a Netflix series. It's only 6 episodes long, but my goodness, it is crazy good, and that is the anime/animated series of the legendary video game Castlevania, the story of the legendary vampire hunter, and basically he comes to this little town that is being plagued by creatures of the night, and he has to take up the helm of his ancestors to try and put a stop to them, and of course go to the source, which is Dracula himself. So I'm just going to give you guys a fair warning. This may be 6 episodes long, but it is a powerful 6 episodes. It is dark, it is beautifully animated, it is perfectly acted, and my god, it is bloody brilliant, and I mean that literally. I think one of the strongest things about this specific series is the fact that it really does feel like you're in a video game. There's a point in the show every so often where he alone or he and an associate actually meet up with this gargantuan monster with sort of feels like a boss or a mid-boss, and in order to advance in the story, this enemy has to be defeated. I can't stress how incredible it was to watch this. It really was pure, unadulterated eye candy, and I'm really hoping that this show does continue, because when it comes to video games being translated into films or television shows, we really don't get the greatest of things, but I will definitely say that Castlevania was pretty awesome. The next show that I want to talk about is already in its 3rd season, and it is one that I sort of missed the bus on, but thank goodness I caught that bus at the very end when it came around again. And that, of course, is the Cartoon Network Adult Swim show, Rick and Morty. This show, I don't know why it took so long for me to get into it, because this reminds me of great shows like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, and of course one of my favorite shows of all time, Invader Zim. This show is flat out dark, hilarious, and just flat out crazy. So many things that happen in this show are just some of the most outlandish things that I've ever seen. Rick and Morty play off each other so well. The supporting cast of Morty's parents, as well as his sister Summer, are just absolutely incredible. All of these crazy adventures that they go on, whether it is mind-controlling dogs or pulling out all memories to see where everything possibly went wrong, is just absolutely hilarious to me. The 3rd season was also very strong, and it also features a whole bunch of famous character actor voices all throughout the show, like Keith David, Nathan Fillion, what have you. I don't know why it took so long for me to watch Rick and Morty, and my god, I apologize for that, because the 3rd season was definitely a great watch, and I am really looking forward to watching the 4th season. And thank goodness it was so easy for me to catch up on everything, because Cartoon Network just reruns this show nonstop, so I managed to watch the first 2 seasons long before the 3rd season premiered, and I was very, very thankful for that. The next show that I want to talk about is on the internet, and it is the Rooster Teeth anime series called Ruby. We are back into this world, and we are in the 5th season of what is now a landmark show on the internet, and my goodness, this is more successful, I think, than Red vs. Blue. There is merchandise, this is on Netflix at certain points in time. Everybody who is into all of this crazy popular culture, whether you're a Harry Potter fan or an anime fan or a Grimm fairy tale fan, Ruby is something that is definitely in your vocabulary. And I have to say, the past season and the current season that we're in are probably the strongest. We definitely see that from an animation perspective. The animation has stepped up tremendously, especially when you take a look at how it was in Season 1. The characters have been developed, and even a lot of the side characters who have been there since the beginning, I think are finally getting what they deserved with some strong development. I am truly behind Ren and Jean and Nora and Sun, and even Crow and Raven. I am just blown away by how deep and developed this show is, and this season that we're in right now is definitely one of the most pivotal, because now it looks like they are finally understanding what they have to do as hunters and huntresses and take down the true evil that is known as Salem. And I don't know when in fact these kids are going to encounter this ultimate evil, but when it does, I'm pretty certain it is going to be epic. So if you haven't watched RWBY yet, I highly recommend that you do. It is such a fantastic show, and I am so proud that I discovered it. And if you do want a little bit of a lighthearted moment in regards to RWBY, you can always check out RWBY Chibi, which is sort of like their version of Teen Titans Go. It's really, really cute. The next two shows that I want to talk about are on Disney Channel. The first one is brand new, and it is something that, let me just say, I wasn't thrilled when I first heard about it, but I was willing to give it a shot, and that is the new incarnation of Disney's legendary television show, DuckTales, starring David Tennant, which is actually a very big plus for me. So I was very curious about what this show was going to be, because I loved the original show. It was a landmark in all of Disney, and to sort of hear that they were going to be rebooting a show like DuckTales really made me say, oh my goodness, are they really, really out of ideas at this point in time? But I gotta say, this is not a bad show at all. It's very different from the original one, but it definitely captures that classic nostalgia. It's also great to actually see Donald Duck in a lot of episodes, because he is just as important to Huey, Dewey, and Louie and Webby as Scrooge McDuck is. We also get a lot of the classic villains like the Beagle Boys and Flintheart Glomgold, and there's even a little bit of foreshadowing, literally, to Magica DeSpell, who we haven't seen yet. But we also have a brand new take on the theme song, which is great. The only thing that I could say that I'm not too thrilled about in regards to this show is the fact that we're not really getting much of that treasure hunting as we did in the first one. Rather, we're getting a couple of social events that are taking place. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's also nice to see Huey, Dewey, and Louie actually have very distinct personalities, and seeing Webby a little bit more of an adventurous person rather than just a cowardly person. Same can be said about Mrs. Beakley, but I will definitely say that this is a fun show to watch, especially if you are a classic DuckTales fan. You will definitely get on board with this brand new show. And the final show that I want to talk about today in the world of animation is the final season of Star Wars Rebels. Ezra and the gang are now about to go into their final showdown with the forces of evil in the Empire, and so far it has definitely been some of their darkest and most dramatic episodes. There's also a lot of connections to Rogue One as well as Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope, because we are getting ever closer and closer to that point in the Star Wars universe. It was great to see Saw Gerrera back already. It was great to actually see them join the Alliance on Yavin 4, and I have really been enjoying this show. I'm really curious to see how this show is going to end. We took a little bit of a break, and it ended on a very important moment, so I am very curious to see how we're going to see this show come to an end. And I will say that this was definitely better than Star Wars Clone Wars. I have been having such a great time watching this show. It really feels like the classic Star Wars, and my question really is going to be at this point in time, what is going to be coming next? I mean, I know there's another show that's on the way that I am not really looking forward to because it really doesn't have the dramatic elements, but I would love to see a Splinter of the Mind's Eye show. I would love to see a Old Republic show. I would even love to see a Shadows of the Empire show, which I really think could be done, especially with this animation style. But I will definitely say that Star Wars Rebels has left an impact, and I'm so glad that this is also part of the canon Star Wars universe, especially considering the fact that we saw some of the Star Wars Rebels references in Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. So that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with me this week to talk about television shows. Please put your comments in the box below. I'm looking forward to discuss any or all of these shows with you, and in the meantime, I will see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.